Alright, so last time on part 1, I need to move the kettle out of the way. So, last time on part 1, I made this, which is a shoebox that was designed to house a GameCube and projector. And while I said I was quite happy with how this turned out, I wanted something a little more weatherproof. So, what I'm going to start on now is putting everything inside of this, which is just an instrument case. Right. So, in order to do that, I picked up this piece of acrylic so I could slap a window on there, and luckily it's large enough. I've got plenty of times to mess up. We'll get back to this in a sec. Aside from that, I also got some nuts, bolts, and washers. So eventually I can drill some holes in the bottom and have the GameCube and projector mounted securely. And as you can probably tell from the larger than required number of packages, I definitely didn't buy the wrong size of screws to start. Okay, now that I've got that all out of the packaging, my plan is essentially I'm just going to cut out a piece of acrylic in the shape of the largest one, because even if I do use a smaller hole, I have a feeling the tighter curves are going to be harder to cut. And it's also easier to remove material than it is to add. And since I'm doing this inside my apartment, I'm gonna go grab a cutting board quickly so I don't damage the counter. Alright, so plan for the acrylic. Simply measure it out, slice it across, and then cut from the smaller piece so we leave the rest of it undamaged. I have a Sharpie somewhere, don't I? That would probably be better than just eyeballing it. Frick. Well, the good news is, this stuff's pretty tough. Bad news is, I think I should have actually bought the plastic cutting knife that this thing recommended. Whew. That required more force than I was expecting. There we go. There's a chance I just cut this into more of an octagon than anything else. Might as well actually show what I'm doing. Just put some pressure on this so the teeth dig in a little to give me an outline. That's not worked. Probably should have just used a Sharpie in the first place, huh? Not exactly a perfect circle, but let's see if I can start getting it closer into the shape it needs. That's kind of working. Though I definitely get the feeling I'm going to need to come back and touch that up with the Dremel at some point. This seems less like scoring and then tearing at the line and more just sudden fracture roughly along the line. I'm not sure if this is going to... Yeah, not exactly coming out perfectly straight or smooth. Right, so we now have a terribly shaped hexagon with lots of nice pointy sharp edges, so definitely going to take a Dremel to that later. And yeah, for that I'll probably just head down to the parkade, see if there's an outlet I can plug into quickly. Now I need to figure out where in here I need to drill a hole for the projector to come through. And roughly eyeballing it, I'm going to say probably around there. I'm going to be a little more specific though. Okay, so I think the best way to do this is going to be to get the hole for the projector drilled so I could at least know where this is sitting, because I have a feeling I'm not going to get that perfectly centered. So, long story short, I took a bunch of measurements of the case and projector to figure out where I needed to put the hole for the projector mount. And because I don't really have anywhere else to do this, I'm going to be doing most of this inside, but I'm going to be drilling into the case, mostly while it's closed. One, for the sake of keeping sawdust a little more contained, and secondly, for the sake of not damaging the counter. Actually, now that I think about this, let's just move this back a little bit. There we go. Just to keep the camera lens a little safer. And also just tight. So that'll be good. I might still put some epoxy or something around the washer to make sure that is more watertight. Alright, gonna have to cut like 2 centimeters off of that bolt, but it is in there. So now, I'm gonna grab the power cord for that, see where it projects. Alright, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. Alright, I pull on the bolt to make sure it's tight. You can see error right there, which that is around a centimeter down, roughly 3 centimeters in from the side, and roughly, I want to say 5 or 6 to the bottom of the image. As you can see, just measured out, marked a rough line. So now, if I go like that to match roughly with the corners and drill, that should give me a hole for the projector to come through. Just making a mark so I know where to line that up. Alright, fairly sure that is through the wood part. Between the noise and that being a crappy drill, I think it hit the cloth layer and really didn't like that. I mean, I did pick up the cheapest drill I could find at the thrift store, so, you know, that's partially on me. Well, that's most of it out. It does look like there's a bit of separation between the cloth/fabric glued layer and the rest of the case. Only in one small spot though, so if I need to I could redo that. Okay. Yeah, I was not expecting this little thin layer of cloth to be the hardest part to remove, but here we are. And that is a hole. Not the cleanest cut, but seems like the layer board inside held up pretty well. Need to clean some sawdust out. And then I'll be right back with the projector in there. And that is no signal, but we can see all of the screen, so that's a good thing. Quick update time. So I didn't see any outlets in the parkade itself, but there are, for some reason, some in the staircase, so this piece of acrylic, these pliers, and this Dremel will be making a short trip to the stairwell. Got it down to closer to the shape. You can see it's still rough around the edges. Doesn't matter too much, as long as I can get it down to fit, which it nearly does. So between a combination of filing and side cutters, got this down to, well, not a perfect shape, but close enough and it fits in the hole. Now what I'm going to do, take off the peels, mix up some of this, and then apply it on both sides. But before I do that, I'm going to lay down a lot of protection over the counter. Alright, let's get the protective peel off. Okay, not sure if you can see, but I did slightly scratch that up. But I think that's minor enough it won't be noticeable. So returning back here, let's pop that into place. I'm gonna go wash my hands and then I'll leave that to sit for probably half an hour-ish. Then I'll do the other side. Alright, we're back. This is quite a bit later because I needed to let the epoxy dry, so that's now in there fairly good. It's only on this side because I'm gonna do the other side once I've got everything laid out and let that dry overnight. And speaking of laying things out, so that's where the projector will be, but there still has to be room for the GameCube, which will probably be somewhere in the back here, as well as 2 controllers, so that's gonna have to slide this way a little, I think. Let's flip this around. Once it's mounted, it'll be easier to have these in because nothing will slide. But still need to leave room for the power cords and AV. So yeah, controllers are going to go in here, but first there's a few other things that will have to go in, such as the projector power cord, the GameCube power cord, and the AV cable. First thing I want to do is figure out the minimum amount of spacing I need at the back over here. Alright, to speed this up a bit, I laid out where everything needed to be fit. That took a bit. Then I took an impression of the mapping ports on the GameCube with a piece of paper, taped that down to the case, and used that as a pattern to drill out the holes. Alright, time to see if those fit. So, holes are lined up. That's in there. So that's nice and secure. And, alright. So, on this side it is slightly tighter than on this one, but overall that's still workable. So, for tonight, because it's getting a bit late, our step's going to be to put some epoxy around there to help hold everything together, let this sit overnight to dry, and continue on now tomorrow. Yeah, I did try to make sure none of the epoxy got in the center. That didn't happen, but it's fairly smooth, so hopefully that won't have too big of an impact on image quality. Right, so the next step's going to be cutting down this bolt to the proper length. Yeah, gonna have to take 2 centimeters off of that. Before doing that, actually, let's do a wedge test. Right, so there might be some polishing required later. Oh yeah, that also brings up the other thing. I have some leftover velcro from the first part, so just gonna cut that up, turn it into some makeshift cable ties to just get this mess under control so it's easier to pack. I forgot to turn on, well, I think that's the first time I've done it. But, okay, most of that was voiceover anyway, so. Alright, let's watch me put the rest of this together. So, I haven't actually measured this out, but it should be able to fit between 2. Possibly 3. Okay, not quite 3. Game's in, but voila. And everything's in there solidly. Moving on to testing. For this I just used the door of my apartment as a projection screen, and it worked alright. It looks great when it's dark, and the image is still visible when the lights are on, so works pretty well. And if I need to when I'm out and about, I can just prop it up at an angle using the game cases, which is what I did here. Right, so everything's in the box, but time for a bit of decoration. I couldn't find the printable labels I used for the prototype in the Shoebox, so I had to run out to grab some, and I only printed on the wrong side twice. So let's cut these out and get them applied. Kept it fairly simple. Warning label to go right there. I could actually size that correctly. Then again, if you're able to read it, there might already be an issue. Got the name of it. Slap that on the top, and a couple of just the GameCube logos to slap somewhere. Quite happy with how that turned out. Still decently heavy, not bad compared to the jet set. And actually for comparison, I'll pull that out so we can compare size. So, this is the prototype. It's your standard Shoebox. And I think I still have some stuff in there. And then this is the new one. So this one's a little skinnier width-wise. Definitely on the longer side, but also a little taller. However, unlike the Shoebox, it's got a carrying handle. So let's compare this to the other project. So this is the first kind of portable setup I made, which is just a Sega Genesis into CRT packed in some foam. This is a lot heavier and a lot bulkier. I did put a shoulder strap on it to make carrying easier, but not the most helpful, and it's not one I'd want to be lugging around all the time. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Accomplished all to go. Once I set up, got it mostly ready to go. Easier to carry around, and generally a bit more portable. Might do a few more things to it, such as getting more stickers and maybe doing something around the bolts to prevent water from getting in if I carry it when it's wet out. Other than that, I think I'll leave it to the voiceover. Yeah, so there's supposed to be a little cool montage here, but I messed up, so thanks for watching. This was my first time recording a project video with a proper camera, and for the most part that went well. Let me know what you thought, and hey, if you're interested, check out either the prototype I made in a Shoebox, hence the name of this, or if you want, check out the time I put the Genesis into a case. Be warned, the video quality on that one's aside from that, until next time, interactions exist.